Jeff Slauson here from 19 News Now at the 19 News Digital Desk. We have an update following the SUV recoveries from a river 2 days ago. This was very much so an extensive operation that took place in the Cuyahoga River. This was in Tremont. Our Dan DeRose doing live digital coverage, watching these two SUVs being pulled from the river for basically hours. And the main reason why so much attention was paid to this is because Keyshawn Williams, the now 16-year-old who went missing last year over the summer, who you may remember, was believed to be at least somewhat involved with a black SUV or a dark-colored SUV when he went missing. Then, two dark-colored SUVs were recovered from the river. Again, from the Cuyahoga River, just near Tremont there. I want to show you a couple of videos here, what it looked like when these Jeeps were pulled out of the water there. And as you can see from that, that is a Jeep Grand Cherokee that was being placed down following its time in the river, at least. And now we know that those two cars that were pulled from the river, not tied to the Williams case, both reported stolen. This has been a case that has been followed for a very long time, and especially from us here at 19 News. To kind of bring you back to exactly when all of this started, in June of 2023, Williams was reported missing. He was last seen at a party on Fleet Avenue. Then, a week later, the Amber Alert went out. At the time, Williams was 15 years old. When police announced that Amber Alert, again, this was late June of 2023, they released photos of a dark-colored SUV showing what they believed could potentially be involved in it. Witnesses ended up saying that they saw him in the back of a car being beaten in a dark-colored SUV, and police have kind of gone off of that. And in particular, they went off of these three photos that I'm going to show you right now. They had said this was a car that was of interest related to this. Now, since that point, they have cleared that vehicle, at least in part, but we haven't known in totality exactly what they've been looking for. But that vehicle was cleared. But still, they were looking for dark-colored SUV. And then two were pulled from the water in the Cuyahoga River in Tremont. So obviously, the potential for a connection started. Now, police would not give us any confirming information as to specifically what they were looking for and potentially what could have been involved in this. It wasn't a normal interaction that we totally have with confirming information with police. However, we now know and now have confirmed that the two SUVs that were pulled from the Cuyahoga River were both reported stolen. These two SUVs, it took a couple of hours for everything to be moved there. Again, our Dan DeRose live streaming the entire thing. Once they were pulled, it was kind of interesting. The action kind of stopped almost immediately there. They pulled them from the Cuyahoga River, they moved them, they were looking in them a little bit, they didn't really take anything out of it, and then they just kind of left. And now we know that both were reported stolen in this. Now, since the Amber Alert went out for Keyshawn Williams, since he was reported missing on the 17th of June in 2023, essentially what we've had is a little bit of movement here. The timeline has been pretty consistent as far as police believe that somebody knows something. They've learned from more witnesses that people reported seeing him beaten in the back of a truck or a car. The reward gets updated more and more to the point where now it's at more than $20,000 for the reward. The police believe that somebody knows something. The family believes that somebody knows something. They have said multiple times that they are convinced that somebody somewhere has information that they're just not sharing. And then in December of last year, a field was searched where they believed potentially something could be in relation to the missing case of Keyshawn Williams. As of right now, we have not been told if anything has been found as a result of that. It's been quite some time. It's been almost a year since the field was searched. So we're not totally sure if anything was taken from that. However, a couple of months later, the family started to speak more and again claiming that they believe somebody knows something and just nobody wants to talk. And then that ultimately led to this point here where they're still looking for that dark-colored SUV. Two of them were taken from the Cuyahoga River, and we now know that both of them are not related to the Williams case. According to police, both of those vehicles were taken to police impound lot, and they were processed, ID'd, and then looked through for possible identification. A tow truck pulling them out of the water, and then a response came from police. I'm going to read it in its entirety. On October 29th, 2024, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, in collaboration with the Southwest Emergency Response Dive Team, the West Shore Dive Team, and Rich's Towing, conducted what they're calling a training exercise. They say this exercise was planned in advance, requiring permits to temporarily halt vessel traffic on the Cuyahoga River and coordination among multiple agencies for the recovery of 2 vehicles. They say that their division ensured that detectives were present for the exercise. They go on to say that the vehicles were successfully recovered and then towed to police impound. They say that they become aware of unauthorized statements linking the vehicle recoveries and training exercise to the missing person case of Keyshawn Williams. At this time, they cannot confirm whether these vehicles are related to that specific case. That is why they say their investigation was ongoing, and ultimately we now know that they were not related to the Keyshawn Williams case. However, a lot of hope was given to the families by the lack of information that was potentially given out there. Police would go on to say that, now in that statement, I think it's also really important. They said that at this time we cannot confirm whether these vehicles are related to it. The next paragraph, they say it's important to note that these vehicles could potentially be connected to the case. They could be related to another crime or not linked to any crime at all. So they weren't necessarily saying that it wasn't, but they were saying that it was highly unlikely and not the reason, they claim, for the dive team to be recovering these 2 vehicles. But again, I gotta show these photos again from the initial Amber Alert that went out in June of 2023. That is a black Jeep Grand Cherokee. Now again, this particular vehicle was cleared according to police, but they still were looking for information related to that specific SUV. So very clearly, when 2 black SUVs are pulled from the water, there is a potential for the Williams family that could help at least something with the case that has really gone cold since the day that this case started. Again, I want to keep showing you some of the videos from when they were pulled out of there. As of now and as of this happening, Williams will be 16, is 16. Investigators throughout this have basically been searching every single potential area that they possibly can think. A $27,500 reward is established as of right now. I want to just pull up really quickly. Where specifically that field was that was searched. Yeah, so that was December 14th of 2023. So we're approaching a year since that search took place. That it was a wooded area in a creek bed near I-77 and Fleet Avenue. Police were gathered in a parking lot somewhat nearby and conducting the search efforts there. Police confirmed that it was in connection to the Williams case. They did not say if they found anything. They did specify that this was a search effort and not a recovery. So then basically a year later, this happens. And again, in the statement that police provided to all news outlets and of course us here at 19 News, they said that the intention wasn't that this was related to the Williams case, but they weren't willing to knock it out, that it wasn't related to the Williams case until they were sure. And now we know, again, positively, that the vehicles that you're seeing there were not, I repeat, were not related to the Keyshawn Williams disappearance. The new information about those Jeeps, it's pretty simple. Again, they say that they were stolen. They also say that one of those was used in a shooting. Let's see if there's anything else that I'm missing here. No, yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's the thing with those vehicles, right? They're saying that both they were stolen. One of them was used in a shooting, and that's pretty much it. Again, they are claiming that the reason for the recovery was a diving exercise that ultimately led to them taking those out of the water. But again, confirmed by police here, the 2 Jeeps that were pulled from the Cuyahoga River in Tremont, not related to the Keyshawn Williams case. This is something we're going to have much more of today on 19 News, starting over at 3 o'clock on CBS. And of course, we're going to be continuing to break down the timeline of the Keyshawn Williams case until we get some more information on it, as police continue to look for more information, and the family, of course, desperate to learn more about what happened to their son. Again, much more on this and the other stories of the day today, 19 News, over on CBS. We'll see everybody there.
19 News, now streaming on Samsung Smart TV.